Hey there, welcome back to the channel. You ever wondered why life punishes the good and rewards the ruthless? Why the people who are kind, polite, and generous are the first ones to get ignored, used, betrayed, and forgotten? Think about it. How many times did you help someone who later pretended like you never existed? How many times did you sacrifice your time, energy, and peace just to be treated like an option? Society teaches you, be good and people will love you. But the real world whispers a darker truth. Be too good and people will wipe their feet on you. Nobody talks about this, but Machiavelli exposed it 500 years ago. Blind goodness destroys. Strategic goodness wins. The world doesn't attack you because you are bad. It attacks you because you are harmless. The more predictable you are, the easier you are to control. The more available you are, the easier you are to use. And the more you try to please everyone, the more invisible you become. Wake up. Goodness without boundaries is not kindness. It is self-betrayal. Being a good person doesn't mean letting others eat from your plate while you starve. Being a good person doesn't mean saying yes while your soul screams no. Being a good person doesn't mean destroying yourself to keep others comfortable. True goodness has power behind it. The power to protect your boundaries, the power to say enough, the power to choose who deserves your time and care. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." And most people misunderstood it. He didn't mean cruelty, he meant strength. If your goodness comes with strength, people respect you. If your goodness comes with weakness, people drain you. In a world full of takers, the giver without strategy becomes the victim. If you don't choose where your kindness goes, the world will choose for you. And it will always choose the people who give nothing back. So this video is not about becoming cold. It is not about becoming selfish. It is about becoming smart with your kindness, so that your goodness becomes a weapon, not a wound. If you stay till the end, you will learn the hidden cost of being good and how to turn kindness into respect, influence, and power without losing your heart. Right now, before we move forward, I want you to lock this into your identity. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Kindness will not make me weak anymore. Number 1. Goodness as exposure. People think goodness protects them, but in the real world, it exposes them. When you are always kind, always available, always forgiving, people stop seeing you as a human with limits and start seeing you as a tool they can use whenever it benefits them. People don't take advantage of you because they are evil. They take advantage because you make it easy. You teach them that your time doesn't matter by giving it away freely. You teach them that your emotions don't matter by suppressing them to avoid conflict. You teach them that your boundaries don't matter by never enforcing them. Soon, you become the person who fixes everyone's crisis, but has no one to call during your own. When you never say no, people assume you never will. When you never demand respect, people forget you deserve it. You slowly turn into the dependable one, the nice one, the safe one, and that label becomes a cage. You try to remain good, but the world begins to reward the takers while punishing you for being available. People prefer to stand beside leaders, not followers. And when you are always trying to help instead of protect yourself, you unconsciously place yourself below others. The truth is painful, but real. Predictable kindness becomes weakness in the eyes of opportunists. That's why Machiavelli once said, "The lion cannot protect itself from traps, and the fox cannot defend itself from wolves. One must be both the lion and the fox." If you are kind without strategy, you become the lion that is easily trapped. If you are smart without power, you become the fox that is easily killed. You must be both, soft enough to care, strong enough to not be used. The moment you start filtering who gets your kindness, everything changes. People treat you with more respect when they see that access to your time, attention, and energy is not guaranteed. Being good shouldn't mean being powerless. Being generous shouldn't mean being exhausted. Being supportive shouldn't mean being disrespected. Strong goodness is when you can help, but choose who deserves it. Weak goodness is when you help because you're afraid to disappoint. The world doesn't respect softness without strength. It respects the person who can be gentle, but chooses wisely. You don't lose your heart by setting boundaries. You protect your heart from those who don't value it. Now lock this belief into your identity and drop this affirmation in the comments. Kindness will not make me weak anymore. Number 2. The generosity trap. The more you give, the less people value you. And that is the cruel truth about generosity that nobody teaches you. At first, people feel grateful for your help, but the moment you continue giving without limits, they stop seeing it as kindness and start seeing it as your duty. What begins as appreciation slowly turns into expectation, then entitlement, and finally demand. You give because you care, but they take because they believe you're supposed to. And here's the painful twist. The day you finally say no, suddenly you become selfish in their eyes, even though you were the one who always said yes. People don't remember how much you gave. They remember the one time you didn't. They don't measure your heart. They measure how useful you are to them. Your generosity builds attachment, not loyalty, because loyalty is earned through respect, not through constantly rescuing others. When people rely on you too much, they stop learning how to rely on themselves. Your kindness becomes their comfort zone, and comfort creates dependency. And when someone depends on you too much, losing you becomes their fear, so they manipulate you into staying available, even if it drains your life. Machiavelli understood this psychological trap, which is why he once said, "It is much safer to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both, for love is held by a chain of obligation which is broken whenever it serves their advantage." In other words, affection fades when it no longer benefits them, but the respect you earn through firm boundaries stays. If your generosity costs you your peace, your time, your confidence, or your dignity, then it is not generosity, it is self-abandonment. True giving adds value to both sides, not just one. Smart generosity asks, is this person growing because of my help, or becoming dependent on me because of it? Because the purpose of kindness is to strengthen people, not make them weaker while you destroy yourself. You were not born to be everybody's solution at the cost of your own life. Give when it empowers, not when it empties you. Help when it aligns with your values, not when you fear rejection. Support when it builds mutual respect, not when it turns into silent exploitation. If people get upset when you stop giving, it proves they never cared about you. They only cared about what you provided. So from today, never apologize for protecting your time, energy, or resources. Stop pouring into bottomless cups and start pouring into people who grow, appreciate, and reciprocate. Now mark this turning point and comment the affirmation, "My generosity will not destroy me." Number 3. The Mask of Virtue. The Mask of Virtue shows how people don't respect who you truly are. They respect the version of you they see, and that is why kindness without authority becomes invisible. You don't get judged by your heart, you get judged by your behavior. You might have the best intentions in the world, but if you appear soft all the time, people assume you can be pushed. If you appear too forgiving, people assume you will never walk away. If you appear too patient, people assume you have no limits. Successful and powerful individuals understand this social psychology, and that is why they practice the mask of virtue. Publicly kind, privately decisive. They speak gently, but enforce boundaries silently. They smile, but they never hesitate to say no when needed. They show empathy, but never allow anyone to drain their strength. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few know what you are." Those who are wise never show their entire character to others. They reveal only the part that earns respect. When you are always polite, people only see softness. When you are always agreeable, people only see submission. But when you combine warmth with firmness, suddenly the world begins to take you seriously. People don't respect the person who lets everything slide. They respect the person who stays calm, but will not tolerate disrespect. You don't need to raise your voice to be powerful. You just need to stand firm when someone crosses your line. The mask of virtue means you remain good without being naive. You care without allowing others to control you, and you stay humble without letting people walk over you. The moment you show that your kindness has limits, people begin to treat you differently. They start choosing their words carefully around you. They stop assuming you are always available. They stop pushing because they fear losing access to you. And that fear creates respect. Not fear of you, but fear of losing the privilege of being in your life. The fastest way to gain influence is to be respectful, but not desperate. Helpful, but not exploited. Loving, but not controlled. The world follows those who master the balance, gentle in appearance, unshakable in decisions. Let your presence be calm, but let your energy speak. I am kind, but I am not weak. Now lock this transformation into your mindset and drop the affirmation in the comments. I will practice strategic kindness. Number 4. The economics of power. The economics of power teaches that your time, energy, and resources are finite, and giving them indiscriminately is a silent form of self-destruction. Every hour you spend on someone who doesn't deserve it is an hour stolen from your own growth, health, and success. Every favor you grant without purpose chips away at your ability to focus on what truly matters. People often ignore this reality because society glorifies endless sacrifice, painting it as virtue. But in truth, the ones who burn themselves out first are rarely rewarded. Power and influence are built on selective investment, not unlimited generosity. Machiavelli understood that resources are tools, not toys. He once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." This means that disciplined allocation of your efforts ensures survival and effectiveness, whereas uncontrolled giving leads to exhaustion and irrelevance. When you try to save everyone, you save no one, including yourself. Overcommitting creates stress, erodes confidence, and invites resentment, both from yourself and from those who take advantage of your availability. The strongest people prioritize who receives their help, choosing situations that produce meaningful results rather than temporary applause. Strategic power is knowing when to say no, when to step back, and when to invest your energy where it multiplies rather than drains. Think of oxygen masks on airplanes. You secure your own first before helping others. Without this principle, your ability to assist ultimately collapses. People respect those who manage themselves efficiently. They exploit those who do not. Giving without limits becomes a liability rather than an asset. When you approach your energy, time, and resources like a currency, you stop being everyone's bank and start being a strategist. Protecting yourself is not selfish, it is essential. Power grows where resources are managed carefully, where boundaries are firm, and where every action has intentional value. Start today by evaluating every commitment and asking, does this advance my goals, preserve my strength, and teach others to value me? The moment you realize that your personal economy matters most, you stop being depleted by endless demands. Now anchor this principle in your mind and comment the affirmation, my time and energy are valuable. Number 5. Strategic use of virtue. Strategic use of virtue is about directing your goodness with precision so that it creates influence, respect, and meaningful impact rather than wasteful exhaustion. Not every person or situation deserves your help, And not every action labeled as kind produces value. True virtue is measured not by quantity, but by effect. Giving indiscriminately dilutes your power. Giving selectively magnifies it. Before you act, ask yourself, does this advance my purpose, protect my well-being, and foster respect? If the answer is no, then restraint is not cruelty. It is strategy. Machiavelli once said, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see, but few can feel." In other words, people notice visible acts, but the invisible wisdom behind your choices determines their long-term influence. Leaders and changemakers throughout history have mastered this art. They appear compassionate, they act decisively, and they invest where the return is real, whether in growth, loyalty, or societal impact. Mother Teresa didn't attempt to fix every problem. She focused where her efforts could be transformative. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't give to everyone in need. He chose actions that reshaped communities. Their virtue was strategic, not endless, and that is what created respect and lasting change. When you apply the same principle, your generosity becomes a weapon of influence rather than a pathway to depletion. Every time you decide where to help, who to support, and when to withhold, you are sending a message. Your kindness has value, and it cannot be taken for granted. You are no longer a passive giver, but an active architect of your influence. Boundaries become a tool, not a barrier, because they protect your strength while amplifying your impact. People respect the person who can give wisely more than the person who gives thoughtlessly. Strategic virtue ensures that your heart remains intact while your influence expands, that your energy is preserved while your effect multiplies. Today, commit to helping not just out of habit, but with purpose, precision, and foresight. Lock this into your mindset and drop this affirmation in the comments. I will help where it truly matters. Number 6. The illusion of gratitude. The illusion of gratitude teaches that appreciation from others is fleeting and often unreliable, and relying on it to measure your kindness is a trap that weakens your influence. People rarely remember the full extent of what you do for them. They focus on what they expect next, or what you fail to provide this time. Gratitude is temporary because human nature favors the present over the past, and when giving becomes habitual, it loses its perceived value. You may spend years helping someone, yet the moment you decline a request, you are suddenly labeled selfish or uncaring. Machiavelli once observed, "Men in general judge more by appearances than by reality. All men have eyes, but few have the gift of penetration." This means people notice what they can perceive now, the immediate act, rather than the consistent sacrifices you have made behind the scenes. Those who rely on recognition are doomed to disappointment because true power does not wait for applause. It focuses on results, influence, and outcomes that extend beyond validation. When you give strategically, you do not expect thanks. You measure the effect of your action rather than the response. People who have learned this law do not waste energy on gratitude. They understand that most appreciation is conditional, often superficial, and rarely guaranteed. They know that by detaching their value from others' acknowledgement, they protect their heart, maintain their focus, and preserve their strength for situations that truly matter. This doesn't make you cold, it makes you disciplined. Your kindness remains powerful because it is intentional, not reactive. You avoid burnout by refusing to let human short-sightedness dictate your generosity. The world does not reward consistency with respect. It rewards results with consequences. When you accept this, you stop seeking validation, stop being exploited, and start investing in efforts that produce real growth, loyalty, and respect. Today, detach your heart from the fleeting gestures of gratitude and anchor your actions in purpose and impact. Lock this principle into your identity and drop this affirmation in the comments. I won't expect gratitude for my kindness. Number 7. Results over intentions. Results over intentions emphasizes that the world judges you by what you achieve, not by how noble your motives are. And understanding this distinction separates respected leaders from well-meaning followers. You can spend your life trying to be kind, ethical, and supportive. Yet if nothing tangible comes from your actions, your efforts are largely invisible and easily forgotten. People don't care about your heart. They care about your impact. Being nice does not automatically earn influence, admiration, or authority, and relying solely on your intentions leaves you vulnerable to exploitation and irrelevance. History remembers those who produced outcomes, who enforced change, and who moved systems, not those who quietly sacrificed without measurable effect. Machiavelli once said, "The ends justify the means," not as an endorsement of immorality, but as a recognition that tangible results are the currency of respect and survival. Leaders who achieve great things are often admired, even if they are misunderstood or disliked, because their accomplishments cannot be ignored. On the other hand, the person who acts with pure kindness but fails to create meaningful change is overlooked, undervalued, and eventually exhausted. Strategic thinkers measure their actions by effect, not sentiment. Every decision, every act of generosity, every moment spent helping someone must be aligned with producing results that reinforce your goals, protect your boundaries, and solidify your influence. This mindset does not diminish your empathy. It amplifies it by directing it where it actually creates impact. If you focus only on good intentions, you risk being passive while the world rewards action. Real power comes from deliberate choices, not idle virtue. Intentions matter privately, but outcomes matter publicly, and success, respect, and influence are earned by measurable contributions. The stronger you align your efforts with results, the less you are taken for granted, and the more your energy, time, and kindness gain strategic value. Commit to acting with purpose, measuring effectiveness, and choosing actions that lead to meaningful consequences. Lock this truth into your mindset and comment the affirmation, "I choose results over approval." Number 8. Legacy and survival. Legacy and survival teach that true influence begins with maintaining your strength and presence, because without survival, your goodness has no power and your impact is fleeting. Many people focus on being liked, admired, or appreciated, but these goals are secondary to the fundamental requirement of staying strong, visible, and capable. If you sacrifice your well-being to please everyone, your influence evaporates, and the world forgets your kindness. History favors those who endure, who protect their position, and who combine moral character with strategic authority. Steve Jobs was not universally loved. He was criticized, challenged, and often disliked. Yet his legacy of respect, innovation, and influence is undeniable because he paired his vision with unwavering strength. Machiavelli once wrote, "It is much safer to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." This does not mean cultivating hatred. It means ensuring that your presence commands recognition and that your power cannot be undermined. People respect leaders who survive adversity, maintain their position, and exercise discernment over who they help, not those who collapse under endless demands. Legacy is built by decisions that balance care with protection, by helping where it matters and withdrawing when it does not. Survival ensures that your values, teachings, and contributions continue to matter long after immediate interactions pass. You cannot shape influence without first shaping stability. Every time you preserve your energy, enforce your boundaries, and focus your kindness strategically, you are securing a foundation for lasting impact. When your actions are coupled with strength, your generosity earns respect instead of exploitation. People will remember your outcomes, your choices, and your unwavering principles, even if they did not like every interaction. Influence is temporary without survival. Goodness alone is powerless without strength. Therefore, focus first on maintaining your position, protecting your resources, and securing your life. And only then can your moral actions create enduring impact. Anchor this principle today and drop the affirmation in the comments. Respect is more important than approval. The final truth is simple. Blind kindness will destroy you, but strategic kindness makes you unstoppable. If you keep giving without boundaries, saying yes to everyone, and expecting gratitude for every act, you are training the world to drain you. Real power, real respect, and lasting influence come from choosing where your energy goes, protecting your time, and helping only where it produces impact. The greatest leaders, thinkers, and changemakers didn't rely on being liked. They relied on being deliberate, selective, and disciplined. Machiavelli said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must be both." Today, you can choose to be both. Gentle in appearance, firm in action, kind with purpose, and strong with boundaries. Start saying no without guilt. Help where it truly matters, and let your strategic virtue become your weapon. Don't give away your heart to those who won't value it. Protect yourself first, then extend your influence. Lock this into your identity, and take action now. Drop today's affirmation in the comments, share this video with someone whose kindness is exploited, and subscribe for more psychological strategies that turn goodness into power. Blind kindness is your biggest weakness. Strategic kindness is your ultimate weapon.